Hello again, everyone. Deflect here, Firm but Fair Gaming. Wanted to bring a new video as I've seen a lot of forum posts and a lot of discussion about Mythic Plus lately, and wanted to bring some reasoning and information to that I think will be relevant. Seeing a lot of complaints that Mythic Plus is too hard. People aren't having fun. They're not enjoying it. A lot of the complaints you see every season at the beginning of the seasons. But I wanted to share why I think people went into Mythic Plus with the wrong expectation. So, people thought that they would be doing plus 10s right now. Easy, wouldn't be a big problem. You know, we're going to go in, we're going to crank out some plus 10s. It's going to be great. Well, here's the problem with that. Plus 10s, the level got squished. So now the highest keys right now are plus 14s. These are done by obviously the World Elite. But before, like, if you go to Dragonflight Season 1, so this is the new X Pack first season, the top key done was a plus 29. A plus 29, and this was done by Andy Chan, and it was done 76 weeks ago. So April 24th, 2023. The first keys they were doing 94 weeks ago, December 20th. 4 months later, they got the best key in. 4 months, not just, a couple days, not a couple weeks. We're only week 3, and people are already wanting to do some top level keys. For their progression, they were doing 4 key levels higher. Just 4, 6 weeks later. Oh, there's a huge level squish in Mythic Plus, like the plus, yeah, well, kind of, it's plus 20s or not plus 10s now, but the equivalent is like a plus 9 should be around a plus 19 or 20. I'll tell you why the 20s aren't 10s. But it's the way it is now with the level squish. So you can't expect to be doing those higher keys. And what I think the problem is, everyone went in thinking that, ooh, I'll do my zeros, then I'll do my ones, and it will go 0, 1. I'll skip up to 5s, I'll skip up to 9s, and then I'll get my portals. Here we go. We're doing 10s and 12s here. That's what they want. That's not how it goes though, because again, for the elite group, took 6 weeks between these ones. Basically, while they did it, what it would have been. Anyway, this gap here was 6 weeks. People are wanting to do this week 3. So half the time of the elite, the best players in the game. I think that's an unexpected time frame. Now, one of the big reasons why I think people are missing the progression aspect is because we used to have tyrannical and fortified on different weeks. So you'd have 0 keys. So your fortified weeks, you run up to whatever you did between 5 and the old 5 and 10. I'm going to go with the old. So old 5 and 10. And then you would drop back down to your 0 on your fort. And then you would have to bring that back up to 5 to 10. And then you would carry on your next keys the next week. So if you didn't get them all up, a small jot up here. And these would be your 10 to 15. And then you would have to go down, bring up your other ones, bring them back up to 10 to 15. And then your 20s up here. So this was a progression where you would get up like this, and that would be your state of progress. Well, this is now the progression we're in. It goes keys, flat line for, oh, I've capped out, I can't really push anymore, I need more gear, get some more gear, push a little bit, can't really get any more gear, capped out for a bit, get some more gear, push a little bit. So that's where we're at now, because there's no going up and down with tyrannical and fortified. There's no bringing other key levels back up on fortified. It's just every key is worth points. You never go down. You stay flat, and then you go up. There's no down anymore. So there's no a sense of need to bring up other keys, I think, is a big problem there. A lot of people were just assuming that they would be cranking out 10s by now, which is, again, an unrealistic approach to people when, like the World Elite took 6 weeks to get here. 6 weeks. Remember that. 6 weeks to go. 4 key levels. Best player that season. Other big changes. So another thing that I think is really having a toll on it is because there is no progression levels. Like you're getting to different areas and you're hard stopping. So you're getting to the affixes, and let's just say you're doing an affix and one of them doesn't start till 7. Well, you're now getting it and you're stuck because you can't progress anymore. The next one is 10, and 10 is a big difference because of those timelines. These 10 keys right now aren't the same. Before they had affixes. Affixes such as the best key done was bursting probably, and explosives. So this is a nothing affix. This didn't do anything except make you move. Cool. This only happened when a death happened. So if you didn't let these stacks get too high, or you had a priest to mass dispel it, it was a nothing affix. You only had to deal with fortified. Fortified is 20% more health to the boss and inflicts 20% more damage. So if you could crank out the packs, you could run to the boss and have an easier time on boss. Boss would be pretty quick to kill. That's not the case on 10s. 10s now are both. So now you not only do you have the harder packs that take longer to kill because they have 20% more health, you now have bosses that have 25% more health. So your bosses are taking a lot longer to kill. And this is the biggest difference between them. The fact that now you're dealing with just a lot more health in general, plus the scaling of the dungeon yet. Because each dungeon progressively gets harder and harder, which each key level, and then at a hard 12, you get an extra one. Or, sorry, at 10, you get an extra one because you get both at 10s. So at 10, all the mobs are either 20% more health, or the boss is either 25% more health, depending on the week. So it is a huge, huge jump to do a 10. And then when you do 12s, the reason why 12s aren't the old 22s is because at 12s you get another affix that causes the damage to be 20% higher. And I think it's, here you are. Health and damage of enemies is 20% higher. So now you get another 20% health boost. So you now have mobs that are 20% fortified, 25% boss, and an extra 20% on everything. And that is crazy, crazy amounts of health that you have to deal with. Whereas old affixes only buffed the mobs. Now your boss was easier. There was no double buff. You're just worried about, moving out of stuff. What's his next highest key? Bursting explosive, same thing. But this created push weeks, which now, spiteful quaking. Now the affixes we have, you have to cleanse. So you have to bring a cleanse. You have to stun them all, which is fine. The one that puts a shield on is a pain because now you have 20% extra health, 20 more percent extra health, 25 on bosses, and a shield. So it's making it things a lot harder. This is the reason why Mythic Plus is going to be a lot tougher in Season 1. Now, the last change they did is if you are going out, a lot of things need to be interrupted still. There's a ton of things need to be stunned and interrupted, which is always the case. But right now, the stun only stops the cast momentarily, which is the biggest change. So if you use Incapacitating Roar as a druid, it will stun everything around. But all those casts, as soon as that 2 or 3 second stun is over that you have, it will go back to casting that ability, which has never been the case before. Now you have to actually hard interrupt it to stop that cast. That's the only way to stop that cast, is with the one interrupt you have. All these other ones just momentarily pause the cast, which is Typhoon. Will pause it. Will stop, it will pause the cast till they get back, then they go directly back to casting the same cast. So that is a huge, huge, huge thing when you have 4, 5, 6 mobs that all need to be cast stopped. Yes, you can do it, but then they're going straight back to that deadly cast. And it's just hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. So the repetitive casting has also put a huge thing on it. But I do think a lot of it was people coming in to try and do the keys that had just, their reality was not what it should have been. You should, like, most people were not getting portals week 3 unless you're an elite player. And Mythic Plus, like, you're talking 10 plus. The sample size is 1.2 million of people who have done 10 plus keys. For people, we'll go to the next affix, 4 million. So only 25% of the people doing 7s to 9s are actually getting a 10 done. Even lower, Fortified or Tyrannical, you're now 6 million people are doing 4 to 6s versus 1.2 million. So, like, you're all just over 1/6 of the player base. You're around like 18%. Now, you want to get up to the last affix and see how low it drops? Only less than 12,000 have done it. Less than 12,000. Out of all Mythic key levels, 13 million, 12,000 have been able to do a plus 12. That should tell you how hard those are, and that should kind of bring a reality back to some expectations of what Mythic Plus is going to be. Not everyone is fully geared. That's another thing. These top players are fully geared. They're Mythic Raiders. They're all that. They're probably 626. Exactly 626. Pushing on the highest level of item level. So, yes, that's why they're doing big keys right now. I saw a post where someone was complaining they were 509 or 508 and they wanted to do 9s. That's almost 20 item level below the top people doing them. Like, that's an unrealistic expectation of what gear you should have going into this. It should be, you should be fully geared. If you're not 626, well, we'll take a look at 10 keys. We'll probably have to go 3 or 4 pages. But 10 keys are going to be infinitely easier. Just due to the fact it doesn't have that 12 affix. I should have just clicked on, wasn't really thinking. I should have just clicked on one of the players. Fine, we'll take one of the, we'll take Equinox Monk. He's one of the best monks in the game. 626 item level, was doing plus 10s. 2 weeks ago, so very early. And he was 616. So, like, that's the world elite being able to do it. If you're not an elite player that are doing that key level, so which puts you in the 0.001%, because 12,000 out of 12 million runs have been done with have been done over 12s, then you shouldn't have an expectation that that should be you. Like, he didn't time a plus 12 till 6 days ago on this key at a R-Car, and it's one of the, I believe, easier keys. They didn't time a plus 12 until he was 624. Oh, that should tell you the degree of difficulty that goes into this. Again, if you and this is the world elite. This is one of the best monks in the game. Best brewmaster that year after year. So that should kind of give a little perspective on where it should be. Anyways, leave a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking about this season. Let me know if you had some unrealistic expectations, if you were fine with the progression you're making, if you like the linear progression of the no tyrannical, no fortified keys just getting infinitely harder, plus 12s and higher. Let me know what you think about that. If you're going to try and get any plus 12s in, do you care? Or are you just after KSM, Keystone Master? Or are you just after portals? Let me know in the comments. So it's Deflect, Firm but Fair Gaming. We'll see you in the next video.